So, I'm glad a beautiful crowd. Chodesh Tov u'Mvorach. Good Chodesh, everyone. It's Chodesh Shvat. Chodesh Shvat is known to be a very dear month, a very special month among Hasidim and by the Rebbe. By the Rebbe because it was the most special day for the Rebbe. It was the Hilula of his Rebbe. And the Rebbe always showed us how to treat a Rebbe. So for the Rebbe, the day of his Rebbe's Yahrzeit, it's the most important day it's the most important thing in his life. For us, the day the Rebbe became the Rebbe, it's probably one of the most important days in our lives. Because what's more relevant to us is the day the Rebbe started to become the Rebbe. So, Yud has a double connotation. It's the Yahrzeit of our Rebbe's Rebbe. And the Rebbe instructed us to fully observe it to the max and do our best. And it's the day the Rebbe became the Rebbe, so that requires a lot of preparation. How do you know? How do you measure? How do you weigh the importance of a day? What defines a day as important? It's a good question. Kiva, you got the question? What makes a day important? Like, what will...
Every moment when you realize that Hashem is bringing life into you.
No, but that's every moment. Then there's not one moment that is more important. No, my question is like, there are special days in our life, in the year. What makes it special? Regardless of the background, whether it's a Yom Kippur, or it's a wedding day, or it's a first time at work, or whatever. What makes it rank higher in the ladder of importance than another day? So the Rebbe spoke about it, and the Rebbe said, the amount of preparation that you put into it. The more you need to prepare for a day, it shows on the importance, no? Mm-hmm. And it also means that the more you're preparing for something, the more the day will be important to you, will be relevant to you.
Also, the more revelation that you will get on that day.
Based on your preparation. But
Chodesh Elul.
Chodesh Elul is a preparation for Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is so important. It's the day of the year, so you have at least 30 days before, at least. Right? Some people say even Chodesh Av already, Tu B'Av already, Chaf Av, etc. So it's a pretty rational way of defining the importance of something. That was it. A wedding day. Why is it? It's so important. So what do? You don't just decide one day, I'm getting married, and are you showing up? No. There's so much preparation involved. Why? Because it's very important to you. So the day the Rebbe became a Rebbe, the Rebbe expected that at least 30 days before the holiday, which was Asara B'Teves, already people should prepare and start learning and do all the takanes and everything that the Rebbe wants. So that's number one. Number two, something very special happened on the first day of the 11th month of the biblical year, which is Aleph Shvat. ב-11 יום, ב-1 לחודש, הואיל משה באר את התורה הזאת. Moshe started to explain the Torah. Torah on demand was launched on Rosh Chodesh Shvat. Torah was given 40 years earlier in Har Sinai, but the first time that Moshe Rabbeinu started explaining the Torah, it was Rosh Chodesh Shvat. So I think it's pretty awesome. Torah on demand was launched.
Explaining the Torah meaning started writing Sefer Dvarim.
Oh, good question. What does that mean, explaining? Does anyone has an answer? What does it say over there? Rashi, מה רש"י אומר? What does Rashi say? באר את התורה הזאת ל-70 לשון. Translated it to 70 mundane foreign languages. That's why I said Torah on demand. On demand, time, subject, location, duration, language, level. That's what we do, right? Question is, what was the urge to do that? Who then needed to hear Torah in Spanish or French or Russian or English or Hindu or Japanese or Latin? Did anyone actually benefit from it? Why did Moshe? And this is, we're talking exactly 37 days before his passing, because he passed away Zayin Adar. 37 days before his passing, Moshe is busy talking to the Israel and then translating the Torah to the Shivim Lashonos, to the 70 languages. Why was that?
37 זה ל"ז.
כן,
ל"ז בראשי תיבות 7 לשונות.
אוקיי, תודה רבה. לא, תודה רבה, לא.
הוא הוריד את זה בכוח.
אנחנו אוהבים את זה, we like it, you know, it's like adding spices on the nuggets. But we want the nugget.
הוא הוריד את זה בפוטנציאל.
מה זה אומר? Explain, speak in English.
He didn't write. He wrote. He wrote 7.
He wrote to explain. Okay, but what do you mean to say? It's interesting what you're saying.
He
Actually,
didn't have Spanish back then.
how do you know?
Well, people spoke French.
We're talking. Listen, in the time of Purim, which is much later, but it's already. Oh, what are you talking about? In the time.
Our bubble.
Yeah, Shivim. Yeah, very good. In the time of Noach, already there was many languages, and not only that, Edut bihosef besamo
בצאתו.
l'eretz Mitzrayim sfat lo yadati.
When Yosef was talking to Paro.
Paro, he said, I will not reveal that I know one extra language.
More than you.
Yeah, very good. So it's already existing.
So why did he bring it down?
Why did he have to do that? No, why did he have to? The language existed. Why did he have
Specifically
to
brought it
translate the Torah?
Am Israel.
Why? Actually, I don't think it's for Am Yisrael. Am Yisrael received the Torah already 40 years before, and they're studying it. I think it was
future generations.
They didn't.
very good. Do it in the future generations.
They didn't want to take the Torah. הגויים-
Why?
הגויים לא רצו לקבל את התורה, אז למה הוא צריך לפרש את זה להם?
Guess what? The Goyim did not refuse to receive the Torah, so we got it in order to give it over to them. That's number one. Because if Hashem had in mind to give it to them, it means that some of it,
needs to go to them.
and that's today's Chumash, by the way. What's today's Chumash? The first mitzvah of the Torah. HaChodesh hazeh lachem rosh chodashim, rishon hu lachem lechodshei hashana. Right? What's a Chodesh? Kiddush HaChodesh. Very good. And what's Kiddush HaChodesh? Kiddush HaChodesh is sanctifying the new moon, the new month. Today's Rosh Chodesh. And this was the first mitzvah. Why? Because the only way to establish a Jewish calendar and celebrating Jewish holidays, which the whole Jewish tradition is around the calendar, is by establishing the calendar. Right? Now we know that the first Rashi of the Torah, what's the first Rashi of the Torah? Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Rashi says,
בית ראשית.
no. No, that's after. לא, זה אחרי, יש גם, אבל... אבל what's the first Rashi? Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbi Yitzchak said, which is interesting, that Rashi starts by quoting a name. Rashi doesn't quote names, and if he does, it's for a reason. Right? Because Amar Rabbi Yitzchak said, people say that it was a dedication to honor his father. Rashi was Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki, Rabbi Shlomo the son of Yitzchak. So he started the first words of his essay, of his book, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. What's the first Rashi? Lo haya tzarich lehatchil et haTorah, ela Torah should have begun from HaChodesh hazeh lachem, which is the first commandment. And then more commandments go on. There's actually no commandment from Bereshit till today's parasha.
עד פרשת בוא בוא.
Yeah. How many? There's actually 3 commandments out of 613 that are from Bereshit till Parashat Bo. What are they? Pruvu, Brit Milah, very good. And Gid Anashe. Yeah. Al ken lo yochlu mitzvot Gidon Hashem.
Yeah.
These are the three mitzvot we have in Bereshit. Now, from Parashat Shemot till Bo, it is no mitzvah. And first mitzvah is in today's Chumash, דבר אלוקים ומשה ולאהרון בארץ מצרים לאמור עליהם, דברו אל כל עדת בני ישראל לאמור, החודש הזה לכם ראש חודשים, ראשון הוא לכם לחודשי השנה. This is the first month of the year, right? And then דברו אל כל עדת בני ישראל, בעשור לחודש, on the 10th of the month, ויקחו סלע ותרות סלע בנים, each one should take a sheep and tie it up to the bed, etc., 4 days, and then do the Korban Pesach. All right? So the first Rashi of the Torah starts, לא היה צריך להתחיל את התורה אלא מהחודש הזה לכם. Torah should have not start, but should start only from החודש הזה לכם. ומה טעם פתח בבראשית? For what reason did it start from בראשית? משום כוח מעשיו הגיד לעמו לתת להם נחלת גויים. Hashem is publishing his deeds in order to give a settlement to his nation among other nations. Which means Hashem wants to legitimize the settlement of Bnei Israel in the land of Israel. So in order for Jews to have legitimacy over the land, we cannot start the Torah directly from the first commandment. We need to give some background. What's the background? From Bereshit till Parashat Bo. LaHashem haaretz u'mloah. God created the world. He gave it to 7 nations, Canaan. It was His will to give it to them, and by His will He took it away from them and gave it to Bnei Israel. That's why Torah should have started from HaChodesh, but does not start from HaChodesh. Guess what? So where should the Torah start? At the end of the day, Torah starts from Bereshit. But it shouldn't start from HaChodesh. Right? So where should the Torah start? And the answer is that if Torah should start from HaChodesh, so really the real start of Torah is HaChodesh, but the fact that it does not start from there, it means that there is a purpose in publishing the tale of creation to the world. Torah changed its order. We know that one letter that is not complete in the Torah makes the entire Torah pasul. Torah changed its order to instruct who? The Gentiles. The Goyim.
אין מוקדם ומאוחר בתורה.
זה לא קשור פה. זה לא קשור. Torah is not a storybook. And if it is, it's the worst storybook in the... Yeah. How do you write such a... It's not a storybook. Torah milashon hora'ah. It's living lessons. Torat Chaim, right? It's living lessons. Living lessons. What do you need to talk to me about Adam and Chava and Cain and Hevel and Enosh and Nimrod and Noach and Mabul and Lot and his daughters? Like who needs to know this stuff? Who needs to know Avraham and Ishmael and Hagar? No, we need to know. You know why? Because she'im yomru umot haolam listim atem shekavashtem eretz shiva amamin, that if the nations are going to accuse us that we're stealing the land, open the Bible, read the story. God created the world, He gave it to them, and He took it away from them, and He gave it to the Jews. But what does that mean? It means that part of us learning Torah, part of us teaching Torah has to do with giving instructions to the non-Jews. By default, Torah was presented in a way that it is meant to address non-Jews as well. Okay? Now, 40 years after Torah was given, Moshe Rabbeinu knows he has 37 days left to live. And what does he do? He translates the Torah. What happened? Why now? Who needs it? So you said...
No one needed it then.
No one needed it then. We need it in the future. Very good. So do it in the future.
But at the time...
It happened, by the way, the other time we see about Torah being translated, it's in the Gemara, in the time of Second Beit HaMikdash, when the Talmai HaMelech, I think the king Talmai, the Greek king, requested from the Chachamim to translate the Torah in Yevanit, and Oto Yom היה קשה להם כיום שחרב בית המקדש או כיום שנעשה בו העגל. I think the day they translated the Torah to Greek, it was as painful to the sages as the day that the golden calf was made. So Torah was translated to Yevani, to Greek, and it was a tough day. So what's so exciting that it was a very sad day for the Chachamim when Torah they were forced to translate it. So why is Moshe Rabbeinu?
Wasn't part of the reason why the Chachamim were so upset about being translated into Greek was because it was a sign that the Greeks would use it against the Yidden to try to assimilate them?
Let it be. Then why would Moshe Rabbeinu rush to translate it so early if it's not necessary? I like to give this example. It's a little radical, a little rough. Like a father tells his child, "You know what? I'm going to train. Anyways, I'm going to pass away one day. So you know what? I want you to get used to it already now. So when you need something, don't call me. You need something, don't pretend I'm not there already. So I want you to." No one does that. No one does that. Why should you? What should I get? But anyways, you're going to be on your own soon. So you know what? Start now and see how it goes. Call me if you don't need anything. Who does that? What's the rush?
Really, really bad tough love right there.
It's a bad example. I told you it's a tough example. But no one.
The reason why it was Moshe who did it because Moshe was the teacher. Moshe was the one who taught.
Okay, very true. Yeah.
So the best person to teach it and to write it out and to translate it was Moshe.
Which is similar to what Akiva said. He revealed the potential. He said something interesting. So what you're saying is right. What you're saying is Torah was given in what language? Lashon HaKodesh. Holy tongue, holy language.
Yeah.
Okay? What is even that language that we call Lashon Kodesh?
We've all set our part. What are you saying?
What's Lashon Kodesh?
Lashon HaKodesh is the language of Torah. It's the language of the book of the Hebrews.
Where does that language come from?
Language they're written.
What does that mean?
From
Talk to me.
Elokus.
What does that mean? Who is Elokus?
When we learn Torah, when we open
It's God's vocabulary, right?
Letters.
From the letters. It's God's speech. It's God's speech, right? Can any human being relate to it? Can a human being relate to God's dictionary? No. How can we do? No. It was given to us. Nasa nonu esterose.
Because it's Lashon HaKodesh, we're Goy Kodesh.
Sure. That's why we have to speak Yiddish at home. And before Yiddish, you know what was the language for Yidden that did not know how to speak Lashon Kodesh?
Aramaic?
Very good. Aramaic, very good.
That's what the Gemara is.
That's human Jewish languages. But Lashon Kodesh, the Bible language, is God's vocabulary. It's God's dictionary. Right? The only reason we are able to relate to it is because we kind of received it from Him. He gave it to us. Okay? V'roi memanu mikail lashoin. At the same time, He gave us the Torah, Am Kodesh, like He said. He elevated us above all languages. Okay? Our lashon, our language is also important. So, Torah is not something that humans can relate to by default. Now, what's the reason we can relate to it? We said before, because He gave it to us. How did we manage to receive it? If I decide to give you something, does that make you automatically a receiver? Who guarantees that you can handle what I have to give? No one. Right? So what made us receivers? What made us receivers of the Torah? What made us receivers of the Torah that Hashem gave? There is Matan Torah and there's Kabbalah Torah, right? Say Kabbalah Torah. We received the Torah. What made us receivers? Who went to grab it for us and give it to us? Moshe Kibel Torah. Moshe Ololamoraim. Moshe Ololamoraim. Right? Moshe Ololamoraim. We say on Simchas Torah. Moshe went up and got it for us. Moshe is the only human being that managed to bridge between the divine and humans. He managed to stand on the top of the mountain The lower part of his body remained human, the top of his body became divine, and he received the Torah from the divine and managed to give it to us. The problem is, the rest of the world is out of touch with the reality of divine wisdom, which is the Torah. So the last thing Moshe Rabbeinu needs to do, and only Moshe can do something like that. Just like only Moshe was the one who was able to receive Torah for us and give it to us. The only one who's going to be able to reveal the potential of Torah and address it to the nations, even though it's going to be necessary for many generations later. No Jew needed translation of the Torah on Rosh Chodesh Shvat in the 40th year in the desert. But the only person who was able to do it is Moshe Rabbeinu. And what it means to us, it means that the Torah that we study as abstract, as profound, and as spiritual as it can be, we need to make sure that the Torah we teach is relatable and can have a message that resonates with the lowest of the lowest aspects of humanity, of creation, and penetrate even there. That is the message of the first day of the 11th month, which is Rosh Chodesh Shvat, that Moshe Rabbeinu translated the Torah to 70 languages.